The clink of champagne glasses echoed across the high-ceilinged ballroom, chandeliers glowing like stars above velvet-draped tables. Soft jazz played in the background as waiters floated by, carrying golden trays of canapés and expensive wine. My sister's wedding was the kind of event that made headlines: wealthy guests, influencers in glittering gowns, a violinist flown in from Prague. And me? I was standing near the champagne bar in a second-hand dress, wearing shoes that bit into my heels, trying to look invisible. My name's Elena, and I never belonged in this world. Not because I wasn't family, but because I wasn't the kind of daughter my parents could brag about. I was the disappointment, the struggling nurse, the girl who rode the subway while they cruised in limousines. Every time I looked at my mother's frozen smile, or my father's sharp eyes scanning me up and down, I could feel their shame seep through their tailored suits. And yet I came, because it was my sister's big day. Because I still had that foolish ache in my chest that maybe, just maybe, they'd see me. That maybe my presence mattered. But I didn't know that tonight would break me and remake me. As the evening wore on, I avoided attention like it was a spotlight. I helped an elderly aunt find her table. I carried a crying toddler back to her mother. I picked up a napkin someone spilled caviar on. And that's when it happened. Is that Elena? A sharp voice rang out. My mother. The music hadn't even dipped, but her tone was clear, scathing. People turned. I froze. She stepped closer in her sequined lavender gown, dragging the scent of Chanel No. 5 with her. Honestly, darling, she drawled to the crowd around her, I told you not to wear that dress. It looks like you borrowed it from a thrift store cleaner. Laughter. From people I didn't even know. I swallowed, cheeks burning. Mom, please. Oh, come on, Elena. She waved a manicured hand. You're used to messes, aren't you? Changing sheets in a hospital for a living. That's what you do, right? A low chuckle from my father. I clenched the stem of my glass. My voice wavered. I came to support Sophia. Yes, support her. But really, don't you feel a bit out of place? You could have at least done your hair. The room tilted. I was 30 years old, and still felt like a scolded child. My knees wanted to buckle, but something else, something deeper, stiffened inside me. Not pride.
Not yet. Pain.
It was the same pain from the day they told me I should have studied finance instead of nursing. The same pain from when they skipped my graduation. From when they forgot my birthday last year. The same pain I kept pretending didn't matter because I kept believing I wasn't enough. The DJ adjusted the music. My sister Sophia twirled in her designer gown at the center of the dance floor, laughing, radiant, surrounded by guests. She hadn't even noticed. I turned to leave. That's when I heard him. Elena. The voice cut through the noise, deep, calm, familiar. My heart stumbled. I turned. He stood there in a black suit that fit like it was sewn into his skin. His hair, dark and a little tousled. His jawline sharp, his eyes soft, but focused. He walked with purpose, threading through the crowd like a man who owned the place.
Leo.
I hadn't told my family about him. He wasn't just my boyfriend. He was more than that. He was the man who brought me soup when I pulled night shifts. The one who sat in ER waiting rooms just to say hi. The one who once told me, "You keep fixing the world, Elena. Let someone fix you for once." And right now, he looked like he was about to fix everything. Leo? I whispered, shocked. You came? I wasn't going to, he said, glancing around. But you didn't answer my messages. And then I saw the live stream. I blinked. What live stream? He tilted his phone toward me. There on screen, a short clip from the wedding. My mother sneering, my face collapsing. My heart stopped. Someone had posted it. It was already going viral. Leo's eyes darkened. But he didn't raise his voice. He didn't cause a scene. Instead, he took off his black blazer, gently placed it over my shoulders, and said loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. Let's go. You don't need to stay where you're not respected. Murmurs erupted. Heads turned. I saw my mother freeze, fork halfway to her mouth. My father sat up straighter. My sister stopped dancing. Leo held out his hand. My fingers trembled as I slipped mine into his. And in that moment I realized, this was not an escape. It was a declaration. We walked together, past the stunned faces and clicking cameras, past the whispers and frozen smiles, past the shame I'd carried for too long, out the glass doors, into the cool night. And I didn't look back.
Not yet.
Because the best part? The real twist hadn't even happened. The door of the sleek black car shut with a soft click behind me. I held Leo's blazer tighter around my shoulders, not because I was cold, but because it still smelled like him. Like comfort. Like safety. Like someone who actually gave a damn if I broke down or kept breathing. He didn't start the engine right away. Instead, he just looked at me for a second. Not with pity, but with that same steady look he gave me the night I told him I'd been passed over for promotion because I wasn't aggressive enough. "Elena," he said quietly, "I've seen a lot of things, but that wasn't family. That was humiliation." I bit my lip to stop it from trembling. I didn't expect them to clap when I walked in, but I didn't think they'd. "Mock you in front of strangers?" he finished. I nodded, tears finally sliding free. "I shouldn't have come," I whispered. I thought maybe it was just me all these years. That I wasn't trying hard enough to be enough. Leo's jaw tightened. He didn't speak for a beat, then reached into the glove box. "There's something I've been meaning to give you anyway." I blinked through the blur. "What?" He pulled out a thin folder and handed it to me. I opened it slowly, unsure. Inside were 2 glossy papers, a floor plan and a signed deed. "Leo," I breathed. "This is a clinic," he said, eyes not leaving mine. "In your name. Fully registered.
Paid for.
Staff already scouted. It's yours." My heart slammed against my ribs. Why would you do this?" "Because every time you came home exhausted, you still smiled," he said. "Because I've seen you hold strangers' hands while they died. Because I watched you buy coffee for a homeless man when you didn't even have enough for your own lunch. Because the world needs more people like you, and less people like the ones in that ballroom." Tears flooded again, but this time for another reason. I stared at the folder, speechless. He continued. "They tried to break you in front of a crowd. I want to remind you what you're really worth, in front of the world." My voice cracked. "Leo, I can't accept this." "You already have," he said gently. "And don't think of this as some rich boyfriend saves the day story. I didn't do this to rescue you. You've already saved yourself 1,000 times. I'm just giving you a platform." The car ride after that was mostly quiet. Not heavy, just full. Full of unspoken things I didn't yet know how to express. Gratitude. Confusion.
Strength.
When we pulled up to my apartment building, I turned to him. "You know they're going to twist this, right? Say, I ran away. Say I caused a scene." He nodded. "Then let them talk. What if they show up?" He smiled faintly. "Then I'll be ready." That night, I didn't sleep much. Not because I was worried something had shifted. For the first time in my life, I wasn't scared of them. The next morning changed everything. I woke up to hundreds of messages on my phone. Notifications flooded the screen like a waterfall of noise. I scrolled through them in disbelief. The clip had gone viral. Over 2.5 million views overnight. The top comments were brutal. "How do parents even treat their daughter like this in public? That nurse deserves better. Who is the man who walked her out like a king? Respect to the boyfriend who stood tall." This broke my heart. Give her the world. Suddenly, my face wasn't just part of my shame. It was a symbol.
People had seen what they did.
They knew I wasn't overreacting. They validated what I couldn't say out loud for years. And in the flood of messages, one name popped up.
Sophia.
My sister.
"Hey, can we talk?"
"Please?" I didn't know it was going to get that bad.
"I'm sorry."
"Can I come over?" I stared at the screen for a long time. Then typed one word. "Okay." By the time Sophia arrived, my hands were trembling, not from fear, but from the weight of everything I hadn't said to her in years. She walked into my apartment quietly, heels tapping the wooden floor like little apologies. She wasn't in her wedding dress now, just jeans and an oversized hoodie that probably belonged to her new husband. Still, she looked nervous, fragile, as if she knew that beneath my calm exterior was a storm I'd never let loose. "I brought coffee," she said, holding out 2 cups. I took one but didn't say anything. I sat on the couch. She followed. "Elena," she started, her voice cracking. I stayed silent, giving her space to speak, not for her comfort, but because I wanted to hear what she'd say without interruption. "I didn't know they were going to do that." "I swear," she said quickly. "I was busy all day, photo shoots, people's speeches. By the time I noticed you were gone, I saw the video." I stared at her. "And what did you think?" She swallowed. I thought you looked like a stranger. Like a ghost of the sister I used to share a bunk bed with. And Mom looked like a stranger too. So did Dad." She rubbed her temples. "I'm not proud of them. I'm not proud of me either." I looked away, emotion tightening my throat. "Why didn't you say anything before?" Asked quieter than I expected. "Because I didn't know how," she whispered. "They treat me better, and I let it happen. But I always knew you were the strong one. The kind one. The one who deserved more." It broke something inside me, but not in a bitter way. I exhaled slowly. "I didn't come to the wedding for them. I came for you, because I loved you, even when you forgot to look for me in the crowd." Tears ran down her cheeks, and for a long, hard moment we just cried together. Not out of guilt, but out of everything unspoken between sisters who used to share secrets, but let adulthood turn their connection into silence. Later that day, my phone rang again. I didn't recognize the number, but my gut did. My mother's voice came through, tightly wound. "Elena," she said, "you need to take that video down." My hand clenched. "I didn't post it," I replied. "Well, someone did, and it's ruining our reputation." I smiled bitterly. "Not your relationship with me, just your image? Don't twist this. You embarrassed us." I laughed. "No, you embarrassed yourself. The world just saw it." She paused, then tried another angle. "Listen, your father and we were just trying to encourage you to elevate yourself. Maybe if you tried harder." "Stop," I said. "You humiliated me for being honest work, for saving lives while you counted wedding favors. You shamed me for not being rich, but let me ask you something." I stood as if she could see me. "Do you know what I do every day?"
I hold people's hands while they die.
I watch mothers scream for sons who don't wake up. I get blood on my clothes and still come home and cook dinner. And you know what? I'm proud of that." She went silent. So I continued. "But you threw me under a spotlight and laughed. Because I wasn't good enough for your guests."
So no, Mom.
"I won't take it down. I won't apologize for existing." There was a sharp breath on the line. "Elena, this will destroy your father's board seat. Then maybe he should sit somewhere else."
Click.
I placed the phone down. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel weak. I felt free. That evening, Leo picked me up again. We drove in silence through the city, then stopped outside an unfamiliar building.
"Come in," he said.
I followed him up 3 flights of stairs. The building was warm, bright, with floor-to-ceiling windows and open spaces. It smelled like new paint and hope. "What is this?" I asked. He turned, smiling. "This is where your clinic's going to be. We signed the final lease this morning." I blinked. "Already?" "Yep," he said. "You'll run it. You'll build your team. You'll choose the community you want to serve. And no one will tell you your work doesn't matter again." The tears came fast. But this time, they were light. "You believed in me when no one else did," I whispered. He touched my cheek. "You made it really easy to believe." But the real storm hadn't even started. Because the next morning, the press showed up. Not to harass me, but to interview me. And behind the cameras stood someone I never expected to see again. My father. His face pale. Eyes full of something I couldn't recognize. Not anger. Not arrogance. Maybe for the first time, regret. They didn't knock at first. They stood there, my father in a stiff navy suit, sunglasses hiding what little was left of his pride. My mother next to him in her pearls and pristine silence, arms crossed as if the chill in the air had dared offend her. Behind them, 2 reporters holding cameras. And 1 mic. Leo opened the door, expression unreadable. She's not giving a statement. I'm not here for that, my father said. Really? Leo said, voice low. You're not here to polish your image? Fix your PR? The same daughter you disowned is now the one you're asking favors from. My mother's lips tightened. We're not asking for favors. No, I said, stepping beside Leo. You're asking for forgiveness. Their heads turned toward me, like someone had pressed pause on the world. Elena, my father said. We didn't expect the public reaction. I raised my brows. You didn't expect people to be angry that you humiliated your daughter in front of 300 strangers and 2 million online viewers? He opened his mouth, closed it, then reached into his coat pocket. A letter. I wrote this, he said, when I saw the video again. Not as your father, but as a man who got it wrong. I hesitated. Took it. Didn't open it. Not yet. He looked down at the ground. You're not a disgrace, Elena. You're everything we should have been proud of. And I hate that it took the internet to tell me that. My mother still hadn't spoken, but something shifted in her face. Like the mask cracked, just a little. I saw the interview, she finally said, where you talked about how you hold people's hands while they die. She exhaled. I didn't know. You didn't ask. That silenced her. I didn't say it to hurt her. I said it because it was true. There was a long pause. Then Leo stepped aside. If you're going to talk, come in. But this isn't going to be a scene. This isn't your ballroom. They came in quietly. My mother perched on the edge of the couch like she was afraid of catching guilt. My father remained standing. I took the letter. Saturday. Waited. And then I said something I never thought I'd say. I'm not angry anymore. Their eyes widened. I continued. For a long time. Not just because of that night, but because for years, I let myself believe I had to earn your love. I looked at both of them. But I don't anymore. I know my worth now. I know what I bring to this world. I know who I am. My father's voice cracked. We failed you. I nodded. Yes. But that doesn't mean I have to fail myself. Silence. And then the most unexpected thing of all. My mother reached out. Her hand found mine slowly. Not out of pity. Not because of cameras. But maybe, just maybe, out of something real. I'm sorry, she whispered. And I nodded. Because forgiveness isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the loudest kind of strength. Later that night, Leo and I stood inside the nearly finished clinic. The walls were painted soft blue. Light filtered through tall windows. The front desk had just been installed, and the treatment rooms were waiting for their first patient. It's beautiful, I whispered. So are you, he said. I turned to him. He wasn't rich because he threw money around. He was rich because he invested in people. In belief. In kindness. In me. And now? I wasn't just someone who survived humiliation. I was someone who turned it into hope. For myself. And for others. But there was one last moment I hadn't faced. The gala. My sister's post-wedding fundraiser. The same crowd. Same faces. Only this time, they invited me as the keynote speaker. I stepped onto the stage at the gala wearing a soft blue dress. Simple, elegant. The kind you don't need sequins to feel powerful in. The ballroom looked the same. Golden lights, champagne flutes, polished smiles. But this time, I wasn't a shadow in the corner. I was the spotlight. The MC introduced me as Elena Reed, founder of the Healing Hands Community Clinic. Not as the nurse. Not as the daughter. Just me. I stood behind the mic, took a breath, and looked around the room. I used to think that success came from titles and money, I said. But I've learned something far more valuable. It comes from how you treat people when no one's watching. Some shifted in their seats. I kept going. I've been laughed at, dismissed, and called worthless. But I didn't break, I built. And tonight, I stand here not because of who mocked me, but because of those who believed in me. I glanced at Leo, who gave me a small nod from the front table. And I want to thank the people who hurt me, I added, because without them, I would have never learned how strong I really am. The room was silent. And then applause. Real.
Loud.
Standing. I stepped down from the stage as my mother wiped tears, my father stood slowly, and my sister beamed. Leo took my hand. You didn't just walk away from their world, he said. You rebuilt your own. And just like that, they weren't the ones with power anymore. I was. Quiet.
Kind.
And finally seen.